How can I get started?
Mr. Cope, you
how
full
can
of jokes
How
today.
can I be like you, security lady NYC, right?
So
and you sit here and do what?
So what I typically do when somebody asks me, number one,
you give them the blueprint.
I give them the blueprint.
Right,
I give them the pink print. And we're back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Cope.
I'm Waleed.
Hi, Waleed.
Hi, Jessica.
What's good?
I'm sitting here waiting for those people who are watching right now to hit the subscribe button. Hit the button right now.
Well, what happens if they don't subscribe?
Hit the like button then. You only got two choices. Either hit the like button or the subscribe button. That's it. Hit it. Now. Smash it. Do something. Click it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it?
Yep. So this episode's over. Thanks so much for coming. I'm Waleed.
No, don't say that. Don't say that because somebody already tuned out.
Oh.
Come back.
They already hit the subscribe button though.
So some people might say, had a friend. And my friend has a new podcast. So I'm all pumped up and ready to support my friend's podcast. And so I told a couple of other friends and I sent them the link. I'm like, yo, so-and-so has a podcast. We got to check it out. Let's support. Let's hit subscribe, because that's what I would want them to do for the Commerce and Chill. So I go to YouTube and I'm like subscriber number 3.
Well, 3 is better than 0.
And so it started a conversation about, well, is it that good if it's only 3 subscribers? Then I'm like, does it even matter? It's our friend. Why wouldn't we support our friend anyway? Because it's our friend. And we know that our friend is not going to come with trash. And why are you making that face?
I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
And sometimes when you're starting, especially early on, I guess that's the equivalent of starting, right? Early on. You may not have you might not have a lot of support from people, especially the people closest to you who you would think would support you. So how do you navigate that? Now, tell me why you're making that face.
I have mixed feelings about that.
Tell me.
And we were kind of just having a conversation about that today. So you told a story. You said in your story that only 3 people subscribe. So does that mean it's not good because only 3 people subscribe?
Well, I didn't say that. That was what came up in the conversation with my
right. That's what somebody else
friends.
said.
Yes.
So here's my thing. And we just had this conversation about Instagram profiles. And we all see them. I've seen profiles that have, I think they said the average person on Instagram has less than like 1,000 followers, which totally makes sense to me. And 1 is better than 0, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So if you have 500 followers and they're super engaged or communicating with you, I think that's an awesome thing. Versus, the person who has 10, 20,000 followers. And when you look at their feed, they have like 10 likes, 1 comment. I'm like, what's really going on there? So for someone to say it's not good because it only has 3 subscribers, I think that's
A stretch?
it is, because then they don't have all the data.
Right.
So in my example, I was saying where people who have like a couple hundred followers, and then I'll look and see they posted like 9,000 pieces of content. And I'm like, damn, they're posting. Like, I don't know if it's any good what they're posting, because I didn't really look at all 9,000 pieces, number one. But I'm like, damn, they post a lot of content.
That takes work.
It does, depending what you posted, though, because you're just taking pictures of random stuff and posting it. But my point was, they posted a lot of content, but they only have a couple hundred followers. Mm-hmm. But the real question is their content getting in front of the people who would enjoy their content?
The right people.
So we were having this discussion earlier. There are 500 million people roughly on Instagram. It might be 700 million now. I can't remember what the latest stat is. But you're telling me out of, let's just say, 700 million people on Instagram, if I'm posting pictures of, I don't know, different shaped soda bottles, you're telling me there's not at least a couple thousand people out there who might be interested in that or likes the angle I take in and will follow me? I'm willing to bet that the person could easily probably get 5,000 followers. The question is that person has to put in the work to find out where those 5,000 followers live and what they consume so they could put their content in front of those 5,000 people so they can start to follow them. So to go back to your point, yeah, your friend only has 3 subscribers on their podcast. That doesn't mean it's bad or good. That just means enough people don't know about it. Because you can make the best cupcakes in the world, but if nobody knows about them, they're just the best cupcakes to you and the 4 people in your household who eat them with you.
Right. So let's bring it a little closer to home, right? Because we're not talking about random people. What I more want to drill down to is, what about people that you know who are close to you?
And well,
what if
supporting them? You mean?
No, supporting you.
I'm on the fence. Like don't get me wrong.
You don't want people close to you to support you?
Because here's my thing, and I call it the humble theory, right? The humble effect, let's call it that. You start a business. Let's say I start, I don't know, selling pretzels, gourmet pretzels. All your friends and family buy them in the beginning because they want to support you, right? And maybe they taste good too, but they want to support you. So they buy them. And then you get this kind of like euphoria because you're like, oh shit, look, I'm selling stuff. Like it's good. But it's not really sales. As far as I'm concerned, it's humble sales because it's your friends and your family. And they're like, yeah, I'm kind of obligated to help them out. Like I've got people in my family who started doing stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'll buy some or I'll support your business. Really, I made a donation because their business or their service, not to say whether it's bad or good, I'm not their target audience. I'm not the one who's going to be using their product on a regular basis. So I purchased it so they could have sales, they can get income. Maybe I'll buy something and write a review to support them. So when it comes to me, I'm a little different because I want the person who's going to consume it to be all over it versus my neighbor's like, oh, Wally, like I heard you're making these pretzels. Can I get one? Yeah, sure. Here you go, Bob. $3. But, that's just my point.
Okay. So I'm going to try to bend what you said just a little bit.
You could break it.
You just talked about humble sales, but I think you skipped over a whole big point that you can support people without necessarily spending money with them.
You can. And I've done it. I'm doing it in the business challenge. You could write a review. You could you could do something you could highlight them in some kind of maybe publication you could refer them to other people. So there's some things you can do without spending money. I was just using that as an example.
Right. But then you also said that you don't really want people close to you to support you.
Yeah. They could give me moral support. I'm good with that. But, financially putting their money in or buying a product, I'm just kind of on the fence about that because I want to go out there and get the audience who is in tune, who wants my product on it. So go ahead, finish bending it.
Well, I would dare say to some of the people that we're talking to in Commerce and Chill Land, don't be as extreme as this dude here.
Don't.
No disrespect. But if you're trying to grow a business, use whatever platforms, whatever avenues, whatever community you have. So if that means asking your nieces and nephews to help you pack boxes, if that means
I'm good with that.
Asking your aunties and aunties, I guess that's the same thing.
They could go spread the word, refer it to their friends. I'm good with that. I'm talking about the humble purchase that, some of your friends and family.
Is just, that's this much of it. And don't get stuck on that because you might have somebody out there thinking, oh, I can't ask the people that are close to me to buy because that really doesn't mean anything.
They could, but it kind of, you're selling online and some of your friends and family make purchases, right? And then they see, oh, look, I sold 10 units today. Like, they don't realize, it's their cousin who brought 10, and the cousin just didn't say anything to support him. I've done it. I've done it for other people I know and friends and family. And I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying. I'm saying for me, it's not unlike. For me, it's not that because it throws me off. Like, I look at it and I'll look and like friends and family go online and make 10 purchases. I'm like, oh shit, I made 10 sales today. And then I look at the demographics of that person through, the metrics, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's who I need to target. But lo and behold, it's my moms who brought 25 of them. So I'm targeting a bunch of people who are the same demographic as my mom, and my mom ain't my core audience. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with them supporting you, like spreading the word. Like they want to help you go do like the farmer's market and set up the table and all that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about from a personal point of view when they buy your product.
Okay.
And sometimes they kind of overbuy
Okay.
to help you out, or to kind of make you feel good. Or maybe they try to make themselves feel good by buying it to support you. But, go ahead. Sorry.
So, I traveled over to Merriam-Webster to see what support
It comes that blue screen.
means. So there are 3 definitions that kind of jumped out at me. The first is to endure bravely or quietly, to bear. And
Shit,
that
that's an
just seems-
entrepreneur all day.
Right. But that also sounds like a very heavy definition if you're talking about wanting someone to support you in your business ventures. The second one made a lot more sense: to promote the interest of, cause of, to uphold or defend as right, to assist, help. In other words, to corroborate.
Okay.
I think that is more in line with our discussion today.
Right.
And when I was thinking about what we would discuss today, I thought support really wasn't the best word. Because I think child support, spousal support, it seems like something that it's like an encumbrance more
Right.
so than something that you would do willingly. So then I took a trip over to Merriam-Webster and looked to see what encourage meant, because I thought encourage might be a better word for what we're discussing today. And so the 2 definitions that stood out from encourage are to inspire with courage, spirit or hope, to attempt to persuade. And the second is to stimulate. Oh, and the third is to give help or patronage to. So I think that really gets at the heart of what we're talking about. Not so much in just money, but giving encouragement and helping somebody to stimulate or inspire them.
Stimulate my business.
Right. And so to take it one level deeper, if you look at the etymology of the word encourage, it comes from the Old French, and I may not say this correctly for my French speakers out there. Encourager. It means to make strong, hearten. En means to make. And courage, or it means from the heart. So I think that that's more sincere about wanting to help someone in their business venture, is to encourage them. So if you're not currently encouraging people that that have small business ventures, I suggest that you do so.
I was going to say encourage.
Yeah, exactly. Because now I'm like, oh wow, it comes from the heart. That's like,
I encourage.
yeah. It also made me think about a song. So Donald Lawrence is a gospel artist, and one of the songs he has is titled "Encourage Yourself," right? And it starts out,
word on that.
Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And no matter how you feel, speak the word and you'll be healed. Speak over yourself, encourage yourself.
Are you about to pass the offering plate around now? Because I'm feeling like I should dig in my pocket and take out some money for you.
But as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, you may find that it can become very lonely. And the times where you feel like you're at your lowest point, that's when you have to speak to yourself and tell yourself to get up, tell yourself to focus. You have to inspire yourself. You have to hit yourself in the heart so that you can keep going. You can't expect anyone to do for you what you're not willing to do for yourself. And so sometimes what I found is that by encouraging others, it helps me to encourage myself. One of my beautiful sister friends is Lauren Mylan. She's currently the CEO at Digital Undivided. And it's a platform to help women of color launch tech products and to move forward in their startups. And what she always surrounds herself with dynamic women who are about their business, whether they're in corporate, whether they're entrepreneurs, but she also provides them with that encouragement to help them move along. And so for me, I love being her friend because I can always just turn to her and be like, I don't know what you're working on, but whatever you're working on, girl, just do it. Keep doing it, do it better, as well as lending support, shouting out the people that I've met who are doing business with her, who she's invested in, who she's mentored, And so think about that when you feel like the world is against you or nobody's really trying to subscribe to what you're doing, that you can start with yourself, and or you can encourage somebody else and let the overflow be encouragement for what you're doing.
Okay. I'll drop the mic after you finish saying all that.
No.
So how important is it for you when you were starting out JSB or whatever, or when we do some of these new ventures, how important is it for you, for people that we know, to support what you're doing?
So it's nice, but it's not necessary because people aren't always going to understand.
Right.
And it's almost better if when you're starting, if you could just put your head down, put your blinders on and push forward, so that, because that part of the process is usually not sexy.
Oh, totally not.
It's usually not easy. It's usually not the things that cocktail parties are made of. Right. If you go to a cocktail party, people want to hear about what's the latest, the greatest, what's your newest win, who's your biggest client.
They don't want to hear about your losses at the cocktail party over champagne.
They don't want to hear that you got denied for a license, or that.
So you say you're right, denied for a license, or you didn't get the loan because you're trying to expand the business, or the line of credit.
Right.
Like, or you were trying to do a refi because you want to use the money from your refi to put in your business, but you didn't want to tell a bank you was refining to put in your business because they wasn't going to approve your loan. So you tell them you refining to do some improvements on the house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But that's not sexy at the cocktail party, right? You sitting in the corner like, yeah, bro, I need this line of credit and I didn't get it. Like, but that's where the norm needs to change. Because in those environments, if you having that discussion, like, yeah, I'm trying to grow my business, but I got these new contracts, but I can't get any capital to cover payroll or to buy the merchandise I need to send to these suppliers. Then in those environments, somebody at a cocktail party, I would want to hear somebody talking to me about that, because then I'm like, wait a minute, you just signed, this long-term deal with Kroger, and you don't have enough money to fund your inventory to get it on their shelves. Let's talk. Like, you got the purchase orders. Like, what's the like? That's where you talk, and then you network and you build together. Versus people just sitting around sipping champagne and eating them little things on toothpicks and stuff. And they're just like, yeah, last week I closed this big deal, and last week I closed this deal. How about we talk about what we all can do together, and we can all close deals together versus independently bragging about it. Like, right. I'm going to start my own networking group, and it's going to call, I don't know what it's going to be called, but you come in and you talk about what your struggles are, and then everybody in the group focuses on how we can help uplift each other.
Right. And that leads to one of the quotes that we wanted to share today. Zig Ziglar, one of his quotes that he talked about was, you don't need to build a business, you build people, then people build the business. So when you're thinking about encouragement, think about the people that you want to be a part of your team. Think about the people that you want to be the fabric of the story of your brand. And don't just wait till you need something. Keep it 100 and talk to folks about what you're doing, because you never know who might be in a position to help you. And sometimes when people don't seem like they're encouraging, it doesn't mean that they don't want what's best for you. It just may mean that for where they are at that point in time, they can't give you what you're expecting. That's why it's important to have clarity when you have an ask or when you need something. One of my girlfriends recently lost her husband. He passed away, and she was a little incognito for a few days. And then she posted this very deep, heartfelt post to Facebook where she explained how she never really understood what grief was, and how you always hear people after someone has passed away to say, oh, if you need anything, just let me know. But
I need you to bring that person back. Can you do that?
At times like that, you might not even know what you need. And so maybe that's not the best response to have for someone, especially if they're grieving. And so in business, I see that there's a parallel, that you want encouragement, but people often don't know what encouragement looks like to you.
Going back to how can we support, your friend, your family member starts a new business or a new endeavor. What are the ways you think you recommend people support? Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, encourage yourself first. Number 2, become a part of a community. Now that could be within your inner circle, or it could be outside of your inner circle.
And whatever you're looking to start to do.
Find some people that have commonality, or people that can provide you specific things that you're looking for. And then number 3, be very specific about asking for the type of support that you have. So for example, if you need $20 million and you know that your retired mother doesn't have $20 million, you don't ask her for $20 million, but you might go to her and say, Ma, I got this idea that's going to change the world. I would like for you to introduce me to some of your retired teacher friends so that I can talk to their financial advisors and find out a way to help me finance my business. Now, she might reach in her purse and take out a cool $20 bill and give it to you. She might ask you to run to the store and get her some milk and bring her back her change. Or she might go to her phone book and bring out the name of 1 or 2 people. The key is you have to be very specific so that people know how they can best encourage and or support you. Those are my 3 quick tips. Because we don't want you to be like Mike Jones, right? Mike Jones, who? Mike Jones, right? Wasn't it Mike Jones who said, back then, they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, they all own me. So you don't want it to be a situation where out of the blue, everybody is coming to support you if you didn't set a pathway to get support and encouragement.
Before you were the security lady and you was getting in the game, I'm sure you heard people was like, oh, you shouldn't do security. It's a man's business. It's this, that, and the third. And there were some people who supported you and some people who were probably like, you should just sell a business and do this other thing, right? So when you look back at that, do you not in a negative way, because it's not me, but do you think back and say, yeah, these were the people who were supporting me when I was doing this, and these were the people who were kind of telling me to do it, and then you look today and be like, these are the ones who are still around, and these are the ones who aren't around, and these ones weren't trying to support me, but now they want to support me.
No, I think that I'm very fortunate that I come from a very loving community and that I have a lot of support. And you have to meet people where they are. So some people supported me in different ways. Some people supported me by showing up. Other people supported me by sending an encouraging word. Other people supported me by making introductions. Now, just because I don't see all of those people now doesn't mean that they're no longer encouraging.
No. Okay.
It just means that where I am in this journey now may not be where they are. And so we don't have the opportunity to chop it up like we used to.
Are there any who are telling you, oh, you shouldn't do it? And now that you're doing it, they're kind of like, oh, I always knew you could do it. Or I'm glad you did it.
Again,
they forget that they told you don't do it.
I'm very fortunate. I can't think of anyone who told me not to do it. I can think of people that...
Well, maybe not told you directly not to do it.
I can think
but
of people,
they were throwing some shade like, why you doing that?
No, I can think of people who...
Come on, girl. You're not good for this.
Because of their love for me, wanted to spare me the pain of not being successful. And so...
Whoa, the timeout. Somebody wanted to spare you the pain, you said, of being successful?
Of not being successful.
Oh, not being successful. Okay, sorry.
And we heard...
My bad.
We heard Tyler Perry speak to this a few years ago at the 10,000 Small Businesses Alumni Summit. He talked about his mother wanting him to go get a job at the post office.
Yeah,
because
that's what she knew.
That represented security, and that he didn't have to live in his car and didn't have to be homeless and didn't have to have the struggles that he went through as an entrepreneur. Now, it's not that his mother didn't intend to give him good advice, but from her vantage point, that was her baby boy. She just didn't want him to hurt. And so she'd rather he be a postal carrier than to be planting the seeds to be a billionaire now, billionaire artistic production person. And so I can see something similar in many of the people who know and love me along my journey. They didn't want me to be hurting because of what I was going through in business. So it'd be much easier for me to continue working in a pharmaceutical company and to have my weekends and to have my summers, and I could go on vacation and we could all chill out together. And now
versus when they call you and be like, oh, I can't do that today because I got to go do something.
Right. Like business. Now I can't even go over for the birthday dinner because somebody didn't go to work, or the client is saying, oh, can you send me some more people to the hospital? Like, so you have to meet people where they are, where you are, and give them the space to encourage you in a way that they're skilled and gifted to do that. Like, because everybody's not going to be gung ho. We all have negative.
Some of them, they're not going to want you to do
Nellies.
it because they didn't want to step out and take the chance.
Maybe I'm not going to go that far, but I'm going to say,
I'm saying it's a combination.
we all know people who can be less than positive all the time. And so if they say something to you, it may come across as if it's biting or mean, but it's not. That's just how they talk. That's how they think.
It goes back to what you said.
They're like, I'm keeping it real. That's keeping it real, but that's not real helpful right now.
It goes back to what you said, coming from a place of what you know. If I want to know how to, bake a cupcake, I'm not going to go ask my boy Diaz. I'm going to go ask Jermaine.
He knows cupcakes. What's up, Diaz?
But cupcakes is not his business. He'll be like, give me some. He'll give me some like, oh yeah, we make these in the house. But if I'm looking to build a cupcake empire, or I'm looking to sell cupcakes as my side hustle, I'm going to Jermaine and Sydney and be like, listen, school me on baking cupcakes because I want to put them out to the masses. Versus I go to Diaz, I'm like, yo, I just want to make them at home for me to eat on the couch. That's different. So what you're saying is 100% valid, but I think more of our message right now is to those who have people around them who are starting something, and then they shouldn't try and support them just from their viewpoint alone. They should be more open-minded. So if their friends or their family or their children come to them and be like, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about starting a business, delivering cold pressed juice by drones to people in the neighborhood. Because their grandparents or their mother or whoever is around them doesn't know anything about drones, they might be like, nah, you should go get a job at UPS. It's like the Tyler Perry example you get. You should go, because they know UPS, because they did whatever years there, they retired, or you should get a job at IBM, because that was the thing. Like, you go work for the company, work this many years, and then you retire. So they're talking about it from their perspective, their advantage. So the message more is for those who have people coming to them who are doing something and need support, to take a step back and open your mind before you give them the advice. So maybe we should listen more to people who have these ideas and interests before we start talking about our perspective and what we think, because we're only speaking from one point of view. Somebody come to me tomorrow and be like, hey, Wally, I'm thinking about starting a business that has to do with, shipping products overseas. I'm going to be like, bro, that sounds interesting. Talk to me. But I can't tell them whether it's a good or bad idea, because I ain't never shipped nothing over to China. I ain't shipped nothing overseas. I've gotten stuff from over there, but I haven't sent anything. So perspective, listening. That's all I got.
All right. So I'll just close it out by saying, find you an encouragement entourage, right? Because the words are kind of similar. An encouragement entourage. Find you someone who can inspire you and speak to your heart, and get a group. Be mindful of what they say, be specific in how they can support you and encourage your business. Yes.
Can we put that on a t-shirt? Encouragement entourage?
Sure. We can put Commerce and Chill on a t-shirt. We can put encouragement entourage on a t-shirt. But also remember that you have to temper whatever advice, support, encouragement you get with your reality. So you have to live, breathe, and be your business. So, take it for what it's worth and appreciate it.